coast-to-coast forecast. Nicole and Amand with you here. The setup, though, in the west as we start there is looking like we've got a low-pressure system and cold air flooding in as we get you through the start of the weekend. And we're talking these temperatures for the third week of June, Amand, 15 degrees in Calgary.
Yeah, it's not comparable to what we started off the month with. We're dropping down quite quickly, 5 to 10 degrees below seasonal this weekend, and even snow in the higher elevations.
Exactly. Plus, we'll throw the risk of thunderstorms at you. In through the interior of BC, they're included in that, and across parts of the prairies, anywhere marked in yellow, chance of pop-up thunderstorms, which could produce some heavy downpours, gusty winds, hail too. So this gets going as the day goes on. Plus, this low-pressure system just doesn't want to quit pumping in moisture across the west over the next few days into the weekend. We're talking high amounts, especially up against the foothills, Amand. We've got close to 100 millimeters or more.
Yeah, especially in the short time span, it's going to be quite substantial in terms of the rainfall totals, and it will spill over into BC as well, especially within the pockets of the thunderstorms. But let's compare this to the flood that we saw back in 2013.
12 years ago around this time, there was the epic flooding. 2013 lives in a lot of people's memories. In Calgary, you saw 76 millimeters through that event. So while we are forecasting similar amounts with this, the difference is we have less of a snowpack. So there's less moisture available to melt and flood into those major cities and the general area. But speaking of snow, we have about 10 centimeters at least coming in the higher elevations.
Yeah, we're tapping with that cold air that's going to drop the freezing levels, but not only the rain for Alberta, it's going to stretch well into Saskatchewan as well, looking like areas central to even east of Regina.
So it's a soggy weekend as we start this first weekend of summer. Now we've got the risk of thunderstorms this Friday in New Brunswick, mainly in the north, the most severe, and across Newfoundland, really getting into this evening and overnight in terms of the timing. So watch this play out. Notice Newfoundland gets into it as well and sort of lingers on Saturday, sort of a bit unsettled still, but it will clear out.
Yeah, and the setup across the east is going to be a surge of warmth that's incoming. This high pressure is going to be flooding in a very humid and warm air mass, and this means the humidex values are going to soar, starting off in Ontario and then slowly moving across Atlantic Canada.
It's going to be hot, sticky, fuel thunderstorms, and we've got thunderstorm threat through today as well as Saturday across Ontario and into Quebec, Amand. And as we've been watching the models, we were talking off air on how inconsistent it is, but it looks like this could set up to be an MCS. What does that mean?
Yeah, an MCS, it's a multi-cluster of storms, and it's quite difficult to forecast. And we've been looking at models, and it's quite inconsistent. And these are high-resolution models that we've been using, so it's going to be quite uncertain in terms of the timing. So we'll really hone in into the details as we go throughout the day today through the overnight. So something to really check back on.
Right, so it does look like today the southwest could get those storms, but tomorrow it's really widespread across Ontario to Quebec, but it could produce those really heavy downpours and gusty winds. Now, let's also talk about the heat. We have possibly a heat wave coming, which, you know, there's no official criteria, but generally that's 3 days over 32 degrees. So humidex usually not taken into account. We need that core temperature value to be at 32 or higher, and we're getting that. On Sunday, we're 33 in Toronto, and then it continues to be hot each and every day.
Yeah, especially with the feels like values. Take a look across Ontario in the low to mid 40s, so that's not looking so great. It's going to get quite uncomfortable. The hair is going to get all frizzy, and you're just really going to need to make sure you cool yourself down.
Air you can wear is what they say, right? So it's going to feel like the 40s. This is on Monday, by the way. It doesn't really let up until we head into midweek. Now, this is all coming, all this news is kind of coming at you in good timing. It's the first day of summer. It officially begins this evening. And speaking of that, just take a look, Canada, at your longest day of the year and how much hours you will see today. For Toronto, that's 15 hours and 26 minutes. Enjoy.
Spot a cool
active weather going on coast to coast, multiple low pressure systems, instability, and a chance of thunderstorms. Now let's kick it over across the west, where the BC interior as well as areas south of Manitoba could see some severe possible storms brew up. So torrential rain, strong winds, and small hail are possible. But other than that, we have a stretch of some non-severe thunderstorms. Now, kicking it off in BC, we have some severe thunderstorm watches in place, including areas like Kamloops, Osoyoos, and even areas of Kelowna. So we could see some moisture ramp up. Embedded thunderstorms can really bring in heavy amounts of rain, as well as rumbles of thunder, lightning, all in the cards. But notice across areas of the higher elevation, snow is expected to return. Now, we're tapping into some cooler air, so that means this weekend's going to be quite below seasonal across the south coast, but we could see some chances of instability brewing up once again heading into Saturday evening. So Sunday is going to be looking like a nice day for you for your weekend, but across Alberta, we're looking at multiple days of heavy rain through Monday morning. So take a look across the foothills, over 100 millimeters possible, even stretching to areas of Saskatchewan as well, where we could see heavy amounts of moisture potentially make its way across the region. Now, it's going to be great for agricultural regions, but something to keep in mind in terms of flooding concerns. But across southern Manitoba, we could start to see those storms brew up later this evening. But notice they're mostly going to expect to stay stateside. It could push into northwestern Ontario, so you could see a chance of some overnight storms bubble up across areas of Fort Frances, for example. But even across southern Ontario, we have a chance of seeing some thunderstorms late this afternoon into the early evening, the severe possible stretching all the way from Windsor to London. Very isolated in nature. Across the GTA, we could see some pockets of storms pop up, but majority of the instability is across the west. Now, our eyes are really through the storms on Saturday. There's a little bit of uncertainty in the models of when and where we could see those storms, but there is a little bit more agreement that cottage country well into eastern Ontario could see some overnight storms Saturday night into Sunday morning. Now, that's something that we'll continue to provide more updates on, but it's not even Ontario, Atlantic Canada. We're going to slowly start to see the system depart, but through this afternoon, we could see non-severe thunderstorms across Newfoundland, but the severe possible just streaking across areas of northern New Brunswick. So we're looking at wet weather ahead through this afternoon, evening, but as we head through Sunday, a little bit dry before we're watching out for showers returning on Sunday.
Looking